Alright, now we're back. Here comes the tedious part. Now we've got all the wires connected to all the servos at this point, and this is going to take us a bit of time. But one thing to note, there's 3 per arm, 1 for the head, and 4 for each leg. So, if you look at page 23 of the manual, they've given an ID to each one of the servos on the actual bot. What we're going to do is we're going to just start from ID 0 and work our way up to ID, I believe, 15. And that'll be basically connecting everything. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and do any cable management at this point. I'm going to do it afterwards. And basically, I'm going to just see if I can kind of organize the cables afterwards rather than before. I might have to take it apart later, which I'll do offline in a different video just to kind of make it neat, but let's kind of go down this route and see what happens. We did this before with the Hexapoddino and it turned out to be okay, so we're going to do it again here. So let's get started. So we're going to start with ID 0, which is the left hip basically, and according to this diagram here, actually you can't actually see it, but the outer track, so basically all of the servos are going to be connected to these 4 slots here, here, here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in so we can actually see that. Okay. So basically we're going to be attaching all the servos to these blocks here, 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 and here. That totals up 16 servo slots, and that's basically what we have, starting with 0. So this is 0, and 0 starts off here. So it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I believe this is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So let's get started. Now, when you look at it, there's one side reads ground, and then the other one doesn't read anything. So we're just going to go with the ground, which is always the black. And we're going to start with positioning this one in its spot, which is right there. Just kind of move the cables out of the way. Now we're going to go with ID 1, which is the upper thigh. Now these are a little bit tough to get in there, so don't feel free to put your back into it and actually push down pretty hard. Just make sure that you've seated it correctly onto the pins. One thing I've noted is that the bottom servo, the actual calf down here, is the cable itself is kind of short. So let's kind of hope that that works out okay for us. Later down the road we might run into some problems when we want to do some movements or anything complicated. So we've wired that up. Let me just zoom out here so you can see. And we're going to continue with ID 4. So this was 0, 1, 2, 3. 4 is up here now. So 4 is going to go in the next bank right there. Now, for those of you that aren't sure or can't tell what ground is, your USB is right here. This is the USB connector right up top. So just make sure that all the cables with the black side, face the USB connector, and the white faces downwards towards the what looks like is the GPIO pins back here. I'm not exactly sure yet because I haven't read that far, but okay. So 4 is plugged in. 5 is the bicep tricep area. Oops, see, this one's offset. Now for those of you that aren't familiar with Innovati, one of the nice things that they have out of the box is all their sample code. And it's nice because you can actually just connect to it and your bot will start running almost immediately. Now one thing I do recommend is that they also sell a gamepad. It's called the gamepad SD or DS or whatnot, and that allows you to remotely control the unit. So we've gone ahead and plugged in 4, 5, and 6. Now 7 is the actual foot. So that's going to be plugged in now. There we go. So I'm kind of worried here. Yeah, nope, that moves around fine. So we're okay. So the legs are plugged in. Alright. So the left side of the whole entire body is ready to go. Now it looks like some of these are longer than the others. Let me kind of do a quick check here. The nice thing about that, I can quickly, sure enough, there they are. They are longer. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to switch these cables here and here. Use this one. There we go. Those are all about the same size. And we're going to plug in this one here, the lengthier one, to the foot, which most definitely we have plenty of slack there. See, that makes a lot of sense now. See, now we have plenty of slack here, and here we have another long one. So let's go ahead and take this one out and unplug it from the hip. That one's ID 0. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one here, unplug this one. There we go. Yep, sure enough, that one's really long. I'll plug in. So just bear with me while I rewire some of these. Turns out that some are longer than the others. And let's do this one here. Alright. So I remember this was ID 0. I'll plug that one right back in. Alright, so those are ready. And this is ID 3. Let's move this out of the way for now. So there we go. I've done a little bit of rewiring. What I did was I put the longer ones on the calf and on the foot, which are these two, and all the shorter ones closer to the body. Those seem to work nicely for us. There we have it. I'm going to have to do the same here now. Just kind of unplug this. And I'm going to be zooming out a little bit while I do this rearrangement. Now, you don't necessarily need to see exactly what I'm doing back here, but when you get into this robot, you'll understand that all I'm doing is replugging in some servo cables, putting the short ones where they should be and putting the long ones where they should be. So these are all the right size. These three. This is the long one. Now of these, which one's the long one? Here it is. So let's go ahead and take that one out. I'm going to go ahead and take this one out from the calf. That's going to go plugged in to this one here. Okay, and now we're going to plug in this guy. Okay, so let's continue where we were. These guys are done over here. I'm just going to move them off to the side a little bit so I can work And I've just noticed we've mounted one of these incorrectly. There we go. Mounted better. Okay. Now, let's continue. So we've mounted that. We got up to 7, which is the foot down here. Now we've got to go to 8, 9, 10. So let's start with 8. It's going to be this shoulder. So 8. Line 10. So the arm is now plugged in. Which one's next here? Got 8, 9, 10. 11 is the foot. Now, make sure you follow the directions 100% because when you go to run the the sample code, it's coded already to these sequences. So the foot's done. That's 11. Now back up to 12, which is the hip. $13, the thigh. $14, the knee. And last but not least, the calf. It's going to turn out to be 15. There we have it. Doesn't that look pretty? So now we got to get into some cable management of some sort and figure out how we're going to do this because this needs to be tie wrapped and managed nicely. So able to do these. However, this one turned out to be a little longer. Okay, so we're good. So how is this going to be wired up? Now I'm just going to quickly look at the box, see if there's anything on the box that gives just an idea of how it should be wired up, if at all. And I do see some funky stuff back there. But all they basically did was kind of run it up the back of the leg, tie wrapped. I'm going to take out my trusty tie wraps and I'm going to start tie wrapping.